We've got drag queens going into primary schools reading books to kids. Within queer theory, that's what the Q stands for in LGBTQ. About breaking down barriers in society, and one of those barriers are the barriers between adults and children when it comes to sexuality.
That actor who's...
What made you watch this?
No, because it was somebody that actually said, oh, this is the state of Britain today.
Right.
It was like, and I was like, Jesus Christ. And they were interviewing an actor, a fat actor, who's in a new comedy show called Smoggy Queens. Have you heard of this?
No.
So Smoggy Queens is the latest BBC comedy. I mean, when we were young, there were things like The Young Ones, Blackadder, Fawlty Towers, all these fantastically written, incredibly funny. So the latest offering on the BBC is called Smoggy Queens. And it's about a bunch of drag queens.
That doesn't suffice me.
A bunch of drag queens who live in Newcastle and make jokes, basically. And I think it showed a clip, or I watched then a clip of this just totally unfunny thing with a bunch of drag queens pulling funny faces, not saying particularly witty or erudite things. But of course, it's drag queens, Nick.
And why is it Newcastle?
Oh, because that's where the real people live. So
yeah,
we're going to do something, we live in London, in Islington, talking bollocks all the time. But what we're going to do is set a show about a flat where a bunch of drag queens all live together in Newcastle. Because that's where they started. Yeah, that's what they all live. They'll prance around in Newcastle dressed in drag, living in flats together, saying very unfunny things to each other. So this kind of got worse then, because that actor who's...
What made you watch this?
No, because it was somebody that actually said, oh, this is the state of Britain today.
Right.
It was like, and I was like, Jesus Christ. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe this is just my interpretation. So that these grotesque presenters are interviewing this grotesque fat actor who's obviously just desperate for the work. And I've seen him before. He's a bit actor, but he's got a main role in this, dressing up as a fat drag queen, basically. But then so this is, by the way, this got us out at 6 o'clock today, this show. It's on, kids are watching this.
Yeah.
Our children are watching this, prime time. So this fat actor said, oh, it's great, this program or whatever in his Newcastle, that was a Newcastle accent, by the way. It's great, it's a program, it's like, we're great in Newcastle or whatever. And he showed a clip with him dressed as a drag queen with a bunch of other other drag queens all pulling funny faces and not being particularly witty. And then next to him was the drag queen. And he's like, I'm like, well, what's that drag queen? So this is Prime Stantini. And so then this Alex Jones character says, oh, while you're here, I don't know what the name of it. I must ask, what's the latest edition of Drag Race? How is it? So Drag Race, for our gentle listeners, is a show where people compete as drag queens. But that we call RuPaul's Drag Race when we were younger. It was just a tiny program.
Not when we were younger, only a couple of years ago. Jesus.
No, it's been around a while. It's the American show, drag show is. And he said, oh, yes, we got some lovely queens on this year, blah, blah, blah. And then a clip of this now. And I thought, this is prime time television, BBC. They're promoting a program about drag queens in Newcastle and then talking about another reality program about freaking drag queens.
Why wouldn't they? We've got drag queens going into primary schools reading books to kids. So having it on the BBC talking about it is absolutely normal. That's how much we've fallen.
How far have we fallen?
Drag is a art form within the gay community that was for adults. It's not panto. It's not one of the dames in panto messing around where, that's different being in a panto. Drag is an adult art form popular in the gay community. I've not got a problem with it if that's what people want to watch. But again, we have this for so many times. Within queer theory, that's what the Q stands for in LGBTQ. About breaking down barriers in society. And one of those barriers are the barriers between adults and children when it comes to sexuality. And they're using mainly innocent drag artists who are not paedophiles, who would never ever dream of it. They're using them as battering rams to get perversions into schools.
And having it on prime time BBC television, promoting it, it is grotesque, Nick.
Well, that's the BBC. Have you seen last day to the former BBC presenter has got 7 years in jail for abusing children?
I think I heard about that. Yeah.
So he did more than Sue Edwards. Sue Edwards only had videos of people abusing children. He actually abused children. 7 years in jail.